Hey everybody, welcome back to Don't Hate the Gamer. This is for the second week of October 2017, and as always, this is Mike,
And this is Tyler.
and we're here for the gaming news of the week, or past 2 weeks since we missed an episode last week. And not a lot of, there haven't been a lot of releases, but the ones that have come out so far have been pretty significant. But
Yeah.
before we get into that, Tyler, what the hell have you been playing?
Cuphead and Destiny
Yeah.
2 pretty much are the two things. Cuphead's awesome. I mean, it's a game that it's hard. So
Yes,
there's that.
it's from what I've heard, it's like old school NES hard.
Yes, it's very much like it's first of all, most of the game is bosses. So there
Yes,
each world has a couple levels, but for the most part, it's about five bosses, two levels. I'm
right.
on World 3. It's tough. It's one of those games where it's fair but tough. So it might
Yeah.
take you 30 minutes to beat a boss, maybe even an hour, depending on how challenging it is for you.
Mhm.
I have a hard time with some of the flying levels. Um,
Right.
I think just visually, it's a lot of stuff very akin to like a bullet hell. So it
Yeah.
might take you a while, but every time you get a little bit better, and then finally
Yeah.
you beat it and it feels amazing. And then then the next one kicks your ass. So
Yeah.
it's in between that Destiny 2, and that's pretty much it. It
Yeah.
takes up a lot of my time.
Which is the definitive shoot and loot. I've
Yes.
been watching streams of Cuphead, and one of the main boss that sticks into my head that I've seen that people have had trouble with has been the dragon. It's this dragon, and it's also a level where the platforms are moving
Yeah. Yeah.
in it, and and it's a matter of the combination of, okay, I have to keep track of these platforms that are moving past, and make sure that the platforms don't run me. And then the fight shifts 2 times.
hmm Yeah.
And
Go ahead.
one of those fights are where I'm not playing it myself, but I can see how people can get tripped up
Well, that's the
because you're
thing,
not only keeping track of the enemy, you're keeping track of the level.
and it can change. Each sort of bosses has like different rounds or phases or whatever, which is probably obvious. But it's like, you're almost certain to die when the phase
Right.
shifts the first time. Like you don't know what's going on. There's a lot of
Yeah.
things coming at you. You don't quite know, what is sort of, how the hitboxes work with some of the graphics.
Right. Right.
Um, so it's like you're certain to die. There's just no way around it. But like I said, like it's very fair once you sort of learn what's going on. Um, and yeah, I mean, there was one that's like a clown boss that goes, you sort of become like it becomes like a roller coaster. There's just
Okay.
like things flying at you. So totally, like I said, I have a
Yeah.
hard time with the sort of the flying levels,
Right.
because man, there's just like so much stuff is going on. But
Mhm.
it's like you put the time in, you learn sort of what's going on. You have to think about what different cues mean.
Right.
So it's awesome, and the artwork is amazing. The music is awesome. Fantastic
Right.
game.
Right. With the artwork, the thing that I think grabbed everybody when it was first shown off is this artwork harkens back to like the 1930s and 40s,
hmm
or even before then,
Yeah.
the 1920s and 30s, of the old black and white Mickey Minnie Mouse, or the old black and white, the Warner Brothers thing of Bosco and Honey,
Yeah. And
of those uh, real old cartoons. And there's actually a video that was on Reddit for a period of
I
time
was just thinking
where
about that.
someone hooked Cuphead to a black and white TV,
Yeah.
and it looked right.
It looks amazing. Yeah.
Yeah,
But yeah, I mean, it's. I'm just sort of constantly amazed and impressed by uh, the art style. Like it's so well
yeah,
done. Um, it's a great
yeah,
game. So if you have an Xbox One, and I think it's on Windows, uh,
yeah,
gotta get it for sure.
yeah. And I can see one of those where it's heavily recommended to use as a controller.
Yeah, yeah, I would think
Yeah,
so.
I can tell that just by looking at it. Use a controller.
Yeah. So yeah, that's what I'm doing. What are you up to?
All right. I've been playing far too much Divinity Original Sin 2.
hmm Heard that was pretty good.
This thing hits all the right notes for me.
Yeah.
It is a long form RPG, high fantasy. It breaks the traditional mold on quite a few things. It's got amazing story. All the quests you can complete like 2 to 3 different ways.
Mm-hmm.
The main story quests you can get through various steps like 4 or 5 different ways. I mean, there's obviously, the main story quests, they branch off in ways you can almost shape like an oval almost,
Mm-hmm.
where at one end of it where it all conjoins, that's something you have to do. But then it branches out into here's all these ways you can do it, all these dozens of ways you can get to your other convergence point. And it's just absolutely astounding, the flexibility, the options. There's multiplayer to it, which I'm going to rope you into, damn it.
Yep, we're doing
And
it.
it works amazingly seamlessly. What I found, which is absolutely broken from playing in multiplayer with somebody else, is I play as an undead human who is just completely skeleton, and the rules with undead are poison heals you, but you terrify anybody if they see your face. This is a bad thing.
It's a cool idea.
Well, you still have to talk to people to buy shit.
Yeah, yeah. I guess that's true.
You will get shot on sight in a lot of cities. Oh god, he's undead, kill him. So a hat is required.
That's amazing.
But yeah, I'm just immersed in this world. I love the story. Classes, they have kind of general archetypes,
Mm-hmm.
but it's one of those games where you build your class by picking the skills. And nothing is really predetermined of, oh, you can't do this because you started out as X. Or you started out as a fighter, you can't heal.
That's
No.
cool.
Yeah, you can have these hybrid crazy builds, and there's a lot to the fight smart in this game.
Oh, cool.
So yeah, that's just been eating up all of my time between the points where I'm playing Final Fantasy XIV, and that's coming out this week on the 10th with a new patch that will introduce content from Final Fantasy Tactics. More specifically, Final Fantasy XII. All the Ivalice stuff.
Hmm.
Hell, and there's Final Fantasy IX roped into it.
That's pretty awesome.
Because the way they bring it in is the Prima Vista is the opera ship from 9 is found floating above a capital city. And you go up there, and in their performance on this opera ship, of these tales of Ivalice, you go through these fights. And it's just a whole bunch of story, holy crap.
That's cool. That's cool. Yeah, I think it's been a few weeks since I've played. Maybe actually more like a couple months.
Right.
I need to jump back in.
Yeah.
'Cause that sounds pretty awesome. Cool.
And you need to find me when we're both on
I know.
my friends list.
My schedule is that's the problem is like my schedule's inconsistent.
Right. Every time there's a game con, on call for like 2 days prior,
Pretty much.
during, and 2 days after.
Yeah. Yeah, so full disclosure, I work for a company that does sort of the community management, PR marketing for Activision.
Yes.
So, yeah, to your point, especially the last few weeks with Destiny 2 and then World War II coming out, it's been a busy time for me, so.
Yeah, I think with this job, you look at E3 and go, that's great. I'm going to be dead by the time it's over.
Yeah, not to get too far into E3 since it's not the season, but yeah,
Right.
I went last year each day, but most of the time I'm there, I'm sort of in the Activision sort of like war room, so I
Right.
can hear things happening around me, like whatever booths are next to me, I get the loop of their sort of sound effects and music. And then
Right.
you get like a couple half days to sort of walk around, but yeah, most of the time you're like in the war room, reading comments, that kind of stuff.
Yes.
So yeah, that's events for me.
Mm-hmm.
But let's jump into the news. So Shadow
Yeah.
of War. What what is this? What, so
This Shadow of War, the sequel to the critically acclaimed Shadow of Mordor,
yeah.
that third person go around orc killing simulator, basically.
Which I actually haven't played. Have you?
No, I have not.
I always
I'm
mean to or meant to.
right. From what I saw of it, it looks like it'd be kind of up my alley. It feels like it'd be a far more violent Batman Arkham Asylum type game.
Yeah,
And I like that gameplay style.
I do too.
So probably the next time it's on discount, I'll pick it up. And again, it's one of those games where you need a controller for it. I can tell by the gameplay you want a controller.
Yeah, I actually went through all of the Arkham games on my PC, but I had a Xbox controller. And yeah, this game I think is right up my alley. But the interesting thing here is the file size.
Yes.
97.7 gigabytes. I mean, and
Right.
then console's about 70.
Right.
Man,
Now I know people are hearing that and going, "So what? Everybody and their kid sisters got cable internet." But there are some portions of the world where yes, you have high-speed access, but at the same time, you're not buying speed tiers. You buy data per month.
yeah.
And this will seriously chew into that for some people. And there's some people where, yeah, I've got cable, but it's crap quality cable, and this will take like 3 days to download. And there's no option for a physical copy.
Yeah, that's bizarre. And I mean, the console issue too, which is less of an issue on PC, is just the limited hard drive space.
Right.
I mean, I put a 260 gig. I forget what I did, but I put a SSD in my PS4. So
Right.
I'm fortunate that I have a little bit bigger of a hard drive than I think most. I think Xbox and PS4 are just getting into that bigger hard drive, but for the most part, you
Right.
have to upgrade yourself, which is
Yeah.
it's a necessity at this point because that's a huge chunk of your
Right.
hard drive.
Right.
Especially for, and I know this was a story a few weeks ago, the NBA 2K18 on the Switch. And the Switch comes with almost nothing hard drive space wise. You have to buy a micro SD. And then even that, micro SDs aren't huge.
Right.
I think sometime in this last generation, or the current generation, I should say, the file size, patch sizes became this large, and the hard drive space has not really followed suit.
Caught up yet. It's only been like the past year where games are, for cons specifically, where games are getting pushed out the door and they're like these behemoths.
Yeah. It's just it's unfortunate. I mean, I know that a lot of people sort of do the workarounds, external hard drives, things like that, but it just sort of I feel like this is sort of the way we're going, and I hope that hard drives will, on consoles at least, will catch up, because I don't like having to sort of find workarounds for something that I buy. I want to just be able to keep it. I don't want to have to like go into it or buy something else to plug into it.
Right. When it comes to a console, yeah, you want it to be, I want everything to be what it needs to be in this box.
Yeah, and especially like you said, the data plans, and even just if I've had this happen recently with internet not being great, is if something isn't, if you're offline for a few days, or PSN is down or whatever,
right?
Then
this single player game you can't play.
Yeah,
which makes no lick of sense.
Yeah, and every game that I buy now requires a pretty significant download, and I don't.
Yeah.
Fortunately, I do have decent internet, but I don't know what you do if you don't have, if you live somewhere really rural, and you buy a new game and you can't play it.
Right, or you're running off of like satellite internet.
Yeah. And then this, you said this true ending here. This is Shadow of War as well.
Yes, this is Shadow of War as well. This is the other bit of controversy it has, where Shadow of War is a game that has a traditional story ending, and then it has a true ending for the people who are the heavy completionists. Like how Arkham Knight had their ending A and then ending B if you collected everything in the damn game and completed everything. All the Riddler trophies, those damn horrid things I'm going to see in my sleep.
Yeah.
But yeah, and the issue is that for the true ending, what's needed for that in Arkham Knight, or in not in Arkham Knight, in Shadow of War, is you need to kill, or there's a factor of it that is either going to have an exceptionally long grind to get everything, or you're relying on loot boxes that have a random chance value, a bit of gambling, and these loot boxes require currency that you admittedly can get in game. But the problem is that, like with any paid, any currency you can shell out real money to get, your rate of gain in game is going to be a pittance compared to how much they give you if you just open up your wallet. So this is an issue where it is a bit of gambling because you don't know what you're going to get.
Yeah.
So it's either you heavily grind for what essentially amounts to a casino token after a very long time sink, or you pay money for your quote-unquote casino token, and either way, you're rolling the dice when you buy these loot boxes. And it's scary that this is popping up on a game that you're already shelling out $60 for.
Yeah, I mean, and I know we'll sort of get into this in a few minutes, but it is, it's like on face value, when you think about true ending, I sort of understand the idea of if you do complete, X number of whatevers, or if you beat something on, like, I know Halo, for example, had, like, if you beat it on Legendary, there was sort of a silly thing tacked onto the end of the ending. So I understand giving somebody incentive for completing a game, but this is sort of like an unfortunate version of that where there's a true ending. So you're already saying, like, right there, this is the sort of the real ending, but then to get it, you have to do X, which you could technically do, but it will take you a long time, or you can just spend some money over here and speed up the process.
Yeah. We're not saying you have to spend money.
Yeah. That's
how they get through it, is that technically, by the math, you could do this without spending money.
Yeah. I have some more thoughts. Maybe we should just chat about Red Dead real quick and then jump back into some of the microtransactions and stuff.
The Red Dead Redemption 2 trailer dropped because I think on our last episode we mentioned that there was a teaser about the trailer.
Yeah.
And I remember making fun of that.
Yeah.
Well, the trailer landed. It was interesting. It showed graphically superior to the first Red Dead Redemption, period. The vibe I got from it really felt like you weren't... Like, Marston in the first game was trying to get away from a criminal past and make amends and just live a boring life, and he just kept getting roped into having to, solve things a rather violent way.
Mm-hmm.
The feel from this trailer, and from what you've dug up, is you play as a character known as Arthur Morgan, a member of Dutch's gang.
Yeah.
Well, that feels like you're the criminal already. That's kind of throwing out the redemption part of the damn title.
Yeah.
Now, unless at some point you part ways with Dutch and you start trying to, sabotage him and fix what he's done, that would feel like a Red Dead Redemption game.
Yeah.
Now, if this just goes off where it's, no, Dutch isn't going to be the big man on campus, I am, and you turn into the tyrant, that's Grand Theft Auto with horses.
Exactly. And I feel like that's probably what they're going for, which the title, you're right, is kind of funny.
Yeah.
Especially...
It's GTA with horses.
Especially because they could have gone with the Red Dead Revolver, and then they wouldn't have had that redemption theme. I don't know.
Exactly.
And then, but of course, that being said, looks great.
Yes, it looks amazing because the internet is what it is. Some Yahoo on Reddit actually saw that they got the horses anatomically correct.
Of course. And
Of
there was
course.
something about people trying to figure out exactly, sort of like mapping out, the areas that we had seen in the trailer.
Oh, of
Like,
course.
this is what happens when you have a lot of promotion, or
Hmm.
some promotion for something that's far
Right.
away. People
Right.
just have to like start looking at every little thing about it.
Right. Or with open world games, everybody wants to map out how big is it?
Yeah,
How big is the map?
yeah. But yeah, super excited for this.
Yeah.
Um, okay, so let's do the main topic here. We can sort of loop back into the loot box discussion, but
Right.
microtransactions, gambling in games. Um, I will lead off just because I've had some. I've seen a lot of this with Call of Duty, and as far as people talking about Call of Duty, um, I won't speak from. My thoughts are my own. I won't speak
Right.
for. Uh, I can echo what I see a lot of times that people talk
Mhm.
about, and then people, I'd say for the most part, outwardly hate microtransactions.
Yes.
But that being said, they make a lot of money.
Right. You have told me that you've witnessed of situations of a microtransaction for a map coming out, and you're like, yeah, we got a deluge of hate about that. But you know what? Activision then made an ass ton of money.
And that's the key. I think it's unfortunate, but it's also sort of it is a business. Games have to make money.
Right. Right.
I certainly personally have a line that I would draw, but ultimately I sort of understand that even if things seem to cross my line, like sort of hiding endings behind essentially loot boxes,
Right.
to me is a little bit
See,
further than I would want to go,
my
personally.
issue comes from the loot boxes themselves.
Yeah.
It's one thing if it's Call of Duty. Oh, here's a big game. Oh, well, they want to sell me a map pack with these 4 maps in, and people get upset about that because they're like, no, I already bought the full game. Why are you making me buy more of the game?
Yeah.
The full thing should be on the disc. Well, the difference between that and a loot box is if you put down your money and you buy that map pack, you know exactly what you're getting.
Yeah.
You're getting these 4 maps. You know what's in them. Well, then the loot box is here's this shiny thing. Here's this shiny box. It has some stuff in it. It has some stuff in it that you can use. We're not going to tell you what. And for all you know, you could have bought a box full of duplicates of stuff you already own.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's the gambling and the randomization because that's what it is. You are paying money for a game chance, for a random chance of getting something.
Yeah. And I.
And
Oh, go ahead.
this is very problematic because yes, the ESRB rating on that thing may be M, but there are teenagers or people that are not old enough to walk into a casino
Yeah.
that are being influenced by this, that have some deal with their parents of, hey, if I use your credit card to buy this, I will hand you the money out of my pocket right now. So
Yeah.
it's a by the transitive property, the child who's not old enough to go into the casino is paying for some form of gambling.
Yeah.
And
I.
this bothers me a lot, especially on full price.
Yeah. I mean, it is. This is such a tricky, I think, topic. As I think ultimately, I would agree with you that uh, if you are the one gambling, essentially, because
Mhm.
that's what it is.
Yeah.
Um, it should be your own money. Now, of course, there's the unfortunate aspect of it where, like, somebody who's sort of addicted to it.
Mhm.
I don't know if that's always on the company. Like, if somebody became addicted to Activision's loot boxes, I don't know if that aspect of it is on Activision, but I do agree with you that it's the underage part that sort of is troublesome, because you're right.
Yes.
It's gambling and it should be treated as such. And
Right.
if I want to spend $100 on loot boxes, fine. But somebody who is using, if in 15, 10 years, whatever, when I have a child that can buy things online, um, that, like, I don't want them using my card to
Right.
buy $100 worth of loot boxes that gets them skins and shaders and like a new gun, and it's a tricky subject.
Right. My issue more comes from the factor of I don't want a trend to become of, in order to complete the game, you got to play this RNG, this random number chance garbage that you actually have to spend real money to do it in any sort of reasonable amount of time.
Yeah, that's pretty
I
bad.
mean, I know there's that whole, you know, in theory, after a long amount of time, you could get this without spending money. Let's be very realistic about this.
Mhm.
Most people will not sit down and plop that rather impressively large time investment in.
I actually am very curious to see if that is even a viable option. In a
Right.
way, I get why loot boxes are popular on like a online shooter where things happen very
Right.
quickly. There's sort of incentive to like be the best, and round to round you might be
Yes.
like, let round sucked, let me buy a loot box, see what happens. But as
Right.
far as putting loot boxes into a largely single player, like, I know personally I would just bail on a game. Like, I'd be like,
Sure.
this, I don't know that I would ever do that to see the end of a game. I'd be so frustrated
Right.
that I'd be like, forget it.
Yeah. Heck with it. I'll wait 2 weeks. Somebody will put it on YouTube.
Yeah. So I'm sort of curious to know if this is even a thing that will last. But
Well, what I find interesting, and what we will find out probably within a day of the game coming out, is somebody will go in and they will calculate the rate that you get that currency to get the loot box, and they will calculate how long it takes you to get it in game.
mhm.
And then you're going to have the math majors who will crunch out the percentages as to how long it will take you to get, but through the math itself, how long it will take you to get all that you need to truly complete the game 100%, get your platinum trophy, get your full, gamer score for it, get everything done.
Yeah.
And it will be very interesting to see a combination of how long it takes or how much money you would have to spend, of how much of that gold you'd have to accumulate to guarantee, okay, done all these loot boxes, and if they find that there's a mechanic where it says you can't get a duplicate from these loot boxes, if there's a mechanic in the game that they've said, if the box is about to give you a duplicate of something you already have, it just re-rolls until it spits out something you've not gotten before.
Yeah. Be nice.
That would be a godsend for this game's publicity if they put in that sort of mechanic. I don't see it happening.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because that'll, the money tree dies that way.
Yeah. Hmm. I don't know. I mean, I think we'll have to see where it goes.
Right.
It's a bummer to me. I mean, it was a huge bummer to me when it became the trend of like, alternate costumes in like a fighter would be
Right.
sort of locked behind DLC. Like
Yeah.
back, I mean, like, I loved unlocking all of the costumes in Mortal Kombat. Like
Right.
things like that, I'm sort of sad to see go away.
Right. These things used to be marks of an achievement.
Yeah. Yeah.
Your achievement wasn't just this little stamp on a gamer card. It was when you walked in, you looked different than anybody else.
Yeah. And that's, I hate to say it, but like a lot of times, as long as I can still sort of, Halo was a big one too, where you could earn, like certain achievements, certain things that you would do were tied to armor that you would unlock.
Right.
And I loved, that was like a clear goal of like, look how awesome this helmet is. Here's what you have to do to get it.
Yeah.
Like, let's see if we can get it. And it's
Yeah.
You know, there was one, I think it was Halo 2, where it was like, if you kill two people at once with the laser, you'd unlock a helmet or something like that.
Right.
And man, when I finally got that, it was like, that's all I wore, because it was like, you knew
Right.
this person had done this thing, and now it's like, oh, I just bought this thing, or like, oh, I just,
Yeah.
you know, and you lose some specialness to that.
Yeah.
And then, especially with a game like an ending, like, man, that's rough. Also,
Yes.
sort of I think online, some of these work so well and are so profitable because of the sort of the peacocking that goes on of like,
Mm-hmm.
look what I've accomplished. Like, look at this camo
Right.
I've got on my gun. Like, you know, ultimately, I don't know that I would care about an ending well enough.
Right.
It's like, yeah, like you said, you know, I'll go on YouTube a little bit later. Like,
Yeah.
why do I care? Like,
Yeah. Give me 2 weeks. It'll be on YouTube. It'll probably be in better quality than if I ran into my computer because they got a better video card.
yeah,
You know, and it's just it's going to be interesting because we know how internet gamers are. The math heads are going to get all over this once they see the rate of currency, the rate you get the currency in game versus how much you have to spend per currency block
mm-hmm.
on the online store.
yeah, yeah.
So it'll be interesting to see how this pan.
Well, yeah, I think we can, you know, I think for now, I think we can see we'll just try to revisit this a little bit later and see like
Yeah.
how it kind of shakes out conversation wise, or if there's a fallout that they need to address themselves.
Right.
Yeah, Mike, anything else you want to chat about real quick? I know I don't want to keep us too much longer here.
No, I mean I think we really caught on it. I realized at this point we were kind of talking in circles with the microtransaction bit, and it is something we're gonna have to revisit later.
Well, I think ultimately we both just agree. Like, we realize that there's sort of a complicated issue of like, well, they do make money.
Yeah.
There's the fact that we're sort of disappointed in the way things are going, and then this is an interesting case, and yeah, we'll just have to come back to it once sort of things shake out.
Horse armor of microtransactions, or the horse armor. Of
Good old
game
horse
building
armor.
Where it's a matter of they see if it works, and I hope it doesn't work.
Yeah,
I do not want this to become a trend.
yeah, totally. Awesome. Yeah. Well, I think that covers it for today.
Yep.
Thanks for watching. If you just real quick, I want to shout out to I posted some Cuphead videos. I want to do a little bit more of that as I sort of progress through the game.
Right.
And I know we want to get some Let's Plays going, especially with Divinity.
Oh God. We're both giant RPG nuts.
Yeah.
I mean, this is going to give you Baldur's Gate chills.
Oh, yeah. Those games are amazing.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, thanks for watching, everybody. Have a good weekend. My name is Tyler.
And I'm Mike. Have a
Thank
good
you.
night.